Tonight, I'd like to update the American people on the international effort that we have led in Libya, what we've done, what we plan to do, and why this matters to us. When our interests and values are at stake, we have a responsibility to act. That's what's happened in Libya. I made it clear that Gaddafi had lost the confidence of his people and the legitimacy to lead. And I said that he needed to step down from power. I ordered warships into the Mediterranean. European allies declared their willingness to commit resources to stop the killing. The Libyan opposition and the Arab League appealed to the world to save lives in Libya. And so at my direction, America led an effort with our allies at the United Nations Security Council to pass a historic resolution that authorized a no-fly zone to stop the regime's attacks from the air and further authorized all necessary measures to protect the Libyan people. If we waited one more day, Benghazi, a city nearly the size of Charlotte, could suffer a massacre that would have reverberated across the region and stained the conscience of the world. It was not in our national interest to let that happen. I refused to let that happen. And so 9 days ago, after consulting the bipartisan leadership of Congress, I authorized military action to stop the killing and enforce UN Security Council Resolution 1973. We struck regime forces approaching Benghazi to save that city and the people within it. We hit Gaddafi's troops in neighboring Ajabia, allowing the opposition to drive them out. We hit Gaddafi's air defenses, which paved the way for a no-fly zone. We targeted tanks and military assets that had been choking off towns and cities, and we cut off much of their source of supply. And tonight, I can report that we have stopped Gaddafi's deadly advance. Moreover, we've accomplished these objectives consistent with the pledge that I made to the American people at the outset of our military operations. I said that America's role would be limited, and that we would not put ground troops into Libya, that we would focus our unique capabilities on the front end of the operation, and that we would transfer responsibility to our allies and partners. Tonight, we are fulfilling that pledge.
Terrorists expanding their reach in West Africa. Counterterrorism sources say Libya is now a base of operations for ISIS as more fighters flow into the region and training camps are set up, leaving the U.S. with limited options. Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge live in Washington with more. So the ISIS presence in Libya, Catherine, what are we learning about it?
Well, thank you, John, and good afternoon. Fox News is told that more than a dozen ISIS members from Iraq and Syria are now operating in Libya, but the U.S. simply does not have the targeting authority to take them out. Separately, counterterrorism sources confirm the new support base for ISIS is Libya, which is now providing tangible assistance through ISIS training camps, especially in eastern Libya, with a presence in Derna, Benghazi, and Sirte, and the growing number of Libyan fighters who are willing to travel to Syria and Iraq. In rare congressional testimony, the nation's most senior intelligence official said a half dozen groups, including ISIS or ISIL, are using the North African country as a safe haven.
There are, in addition to ISIL, probably 6 or 8 other terrorist groups that have gathered in Libya. So it's a magnet because of essentially it's ungoverned.
Clapper also suggested the U.S. intelligence community send its own spy planes or drones to Libya, or partner with France that already has air assets in the region to work out how many ISIS members are in country and what threat they pose to U.S. interests and its allies. One of the central figures in eastern Libya is a guy called Abdul Hakim Belhaj. In 2011, he was seen by the U.S. and many members of Congress as the go-to partner to overthrow the Libyan dictator, and now he is closely allied with the Islamist group Ansar al-Sharia. This recent video, the execution of 21 Egyptian Christians in eastern Libya, is also seen as a statement of ISIS's strength in that part of the country and their comfort operating there. And it was designed to further draw in Egypt into the conflict. Critics say Libya's new position as a safe haven for ISIS reflects what appears to be one of the most significant policy failures of the so-called Arab Spring, John.
Wow. Catherine Herridge in Washington. Thank you, Catherine.
You're welcome.
So for those who doubted our capacity to carry out this operation, I want to be clear. The United States of America has done what we said we would do. That's not to say that our work is complete.